deep in the rainforest of Africa, below a canopy of gigantic trees, in the thick bushes and along rivers, roams a red magical creature.
I am Tim from Westphalia and welcome to the Congo.
We start off this journey in Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, where we take our first 4.5-hour flight to Brazzaville, the capital city of the Republic of Congo. As we flew over the equator, the ground beneath us became a green sea of forest, only split up by the mighty Congo River. We arrived in the beautiful city of Brazzaville, where we will spend the night. Brazzaville was founded in 1880 by Pierre de Brazza and was purchased by the French colonial empire in 1883, leading to the majority of the population being French-speaking. The city is clean and vibrant, with extremely friendly people, and we had no instances of feeling unsafe. It was also comforting to know that Westphalia has operators in the Congo who work as interpreters, tour guides, and fixers. The next day, we take a flight to Wesso, the closest city to our hunting destination. The flight takes about 4.5 hours as you take short little stops on small airports along the way. The conditions of these airports were rural and outdated, and this is when we knew we are now in the heart of Africa. When we arrived at Wesso, we were picked up by our PH, the very famous Christophe Mario, and we made our journey to the camp. From the airport is about 1.5 hours drive on the tar road, where we finally turned off to this view. This is the first time where we are introduced to the gigantic trees, thick and green vegetation, and of course, the pygmy communities, who are indigenous to the Congo Rainforest. Another 1.5 hour's drive through the forest, we arrive at a beautiful and luxurious camp along the Ngoku River. Not only does the camp offer stylish bedrooms, but also other amenities, such as Wi-Fi and air conditioning. The camp is owned by Jean-Luc and his wife Valerie, who will ensure that you always have a full stomach, a drink in hand, and are as relaxed as possible. Before we get to the hunt, let's meet the team first. The hunter will be Rupert, who is not only a good friend, but also an experienced hunter with a lot of rare and sought-after animals in his trophy room. Rupert has done many hunts in Africa, but this will be his first in the Congo Rainforest. The PH will be Christophe Morio, who has over 30 years of experience in African hunting, most of which is bongo hunting in the rainforests. There is no lack of fun and entertainment with him as your PH. Then Tim Strohmeyer, who is a representative of Westphalia Yachtreisen. Tim has been working in the hunting tourism industry since 2008 and has been part of Westphalia Yachtreisen since 2016. With years of experience, he is one of the most knowledgeable hunting experts of his generation, not only for Africa, but also for Europe and Asia. Then there are the 6 trackers, all of them equipped with pangas. Their roles will be to cut paths, carry supplies, and most importantly, track for bongos. It really is incredible to see how they're not only able to navigate through the forest, but also find tracks on a leaf-ridden forest floor. Lastly, we have the trackers' dogs, who mainly consist of small mixed-breed dogs that are trained to bay the bongo once they have found it. It is important to note that these dogs aren't trained to track the animal, but only to bay them long enough for us to arrive and take the shot. Next up, we meet the target, the bongo, or otherwise known as the red ghost of the Congo forest. The western bongo, known for their auburn-colored coats and spiral horns, can mostly be found in dense tropical rainforests in Central and Western Africa. The bulls are solitary animals and mainly browse on tree bark and leaves. Bongo are extremely elusive and easily frightened, which, accompanied by the terrain, makes them one of the most difficult animals to hunt and has led to a lot of failed hunts. And lastly, our hunting area. Our hunting area will be north of the Republic of Congo on the border of Cameroon. The hunting area is based deep in the Congo Rainforest and spans over 150,000 hectares. It consists of trees as tall as 50 meters, rivers, swamps, hills, and bays. The humidity in the forest is 100%, which means the moment you step into the forest, you will be covered in sweat. So it's handy to bring a small towel and dress light. Other than the heat, the muddy terrains, steep elevation, thorny vines, and ants make hunting in the forest extremely challenging. But it isn't all bad. It is by far one of the most beautiful places in the world. You are surrounded by trees the size of skyscrapers, rivers with fresh water you can drink from, monkeys that jump above you from tree to tree, and most famously, the gorillas. On the first morning of the hunt, we start around 6. With guns, trackers, and dogs loaded, we set off into the forest. It takes over an hour's drive through the tall canopies of the forest until we arrive at the hunting area. And here we also stop and investigate our salt lick and check the camera.
And what are these tracks here?
Elephant.
Elephant.
There's elephants. There's an old bongo track here.
What does a bongo track look like? Oh,
It's old. This one here.
With no luck at the salt lick, Christophe said that we would have to check the bays. Bays are open spaces within the forest where there are no trees growing, and there is usually some water source like a river or waterhole where animals come to drink. In order to attract wildlife, Christoph and his team throw out salt in these bays, which is an important nutrient for the animals. At each of the bays, we stop and check the trail cameras for any sightings, and the trackers scour the area for any tracks. With the first salt lick showing no signs of a bongo, we move on to the next few bays, and that means finally going into the forest. Walking from bay to bay and checking for any movement or tracks is the most efficient way to find a bongo, but it can be tough. On average, you can walk up to 15 or 20 kilometers a day. It's very humid. You will get attacked by ants, and the forest is thick, so prepare to crawl on your hands and knees at times. Now, first problem was that it hadn't rained in the forest for the last 10 days, which meant the ground was hard, and even if we did see a bongo on the cameras, it would be nearly impossible to track. So for the first few days, as we waited for the rain, we went out to hunt duikers.
I could see really good from here, but I think that's fun. I could see like 200%.
Yeah.
It just, 50 centimeter makes a big difference.
The Congo forest provides a lot of different species of duikers. Blue duikers, bay duikers, Peter duikers, and yellow-backed duikers, just to mention a few. The method of hunting these duikers in the forest is quite unique and fun. We find a tree with large roots to give us cover. The rifle is replaced by a shotgun, and we wait while the trackers lure the duikers by creating a distinct call, that of an animal in distress. Duikers are very inquisitive, so if they hear a distressed animal, they immediately rush to the sound to investigate. The trackers are equipped with sticks to point in the direction that the duiker is coming from, and then you only have a split second to shoot before he disappears back into the forest again. But it is not always as easy, as you can't always calculate where the duiker will be coming from, and they are extremely quick. But luck was on our side, as we managed to shoot 2 blue duikers, one bay duiker, and 1 Peter's duiker. After 4 days with no rain, we were starting to get desperate. But the trackers had one more trick up their sleeve. they found a short tree and made small cuts into it. This is the rain tree, and they believe that if you cut into this tree, the gods of the forest will see it and bring the rain. And that evening, believe it or not, the rain started to fall. The next day, after the rain, the forest looked, sounded, and smelled completely different. We headed out to the different bays, and with the soft ground, the tracking became a lot easier. But we may have pleased the rain gods too much, as during our hunt, on the tracks of a bongo we saw earlier on the cameras, it started to rain. And with the tracks being washed away, the hunting ended, and we made our 6-kilometer journey back to the vehicle. On day 7, Christoph decided that we're going to change locations to an area much more untouched and deeper into the forest. Here the forest is a lot thicker and the roads a lot harsher. With the new area comes a lot more obstacles, but it is soon cleared by a chainsaw and the experienced trackers. The rest of the day we mostly spent cutting new paths into the forest and placing salt and cameras at each of the bays. Although roaming through the forest is difficult and exhausting, it is still a very unique place and you get to see something new every day. For example, these vines, if cut, are like opening a tap of water. This water is drinkable, and if ever the pygmies get lost in the forest, far from any river, these vines will become their source of water.
Schnaps. That's the last time we saw Rupert.
On day 8, we spent most of our time in the new section of the forest, scouting out the bays for any tracks and checking the cameras. The only tracks we found were unfortunately those of a female bongo and her calves. But we did, however, see this big eye on one of the cameras. With time running out, bongos hiding in the trees, and the rain being unpredictable, we decided to take desperate measures and set out at 5 o'clock in the morning. By 6:30 we arrived at the spot where we left the truck and took the rest of the hunt on foot. At the first bay, we couldn't believe our eyes. On the camera was a Bongo bull drinking water an hour and a half before we arrived. This turned into a small celebration, and Christoph mentioned that we will be able to catch up with him in the next half an hour. Famous last words, we soon found out. We listened as Christoph gave us a short explanation of what will happen when we meet the Bongo.
Him and I just run.
Yeah. And I'm behind you.
If you are behind me.
Yeah.
If you can't keep up,
Yeah.
some of the guys
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
Right? No problem.
And then we prepped all the gear, gathered the dogs, and started tracking. The tracks were fresh and deep, giving us more confidence that we will have the Bongo down before brunch.
So now he's just walking, feeding. You see, he's not going. He's feeding slow. Well, the guy's just quiet. It's just a matter of time. The only thing, we go very slowly because it's a big forest. That's very difficult.
But an hour into our tracking, our luck changed dramatically. It went from a quiet forest to deep bellows and shouting. Sounds so terrifying that it made the hair on the back of our necks rise. About 50 meters away from us, the dogs and gorillas were having a face-off. And with the dogs not listening to our calls, there was nothing much we could do. We took a short break while the trackers went after their dogs, but we didn't have much hope, as from the sounds we heard, we expected them to have met their demise. But miraculously, all of the dogs returned, with friendly faces and not a bother in the world. With all the dogs recovered, we got back on the tracks. But to our discovery, the tracks revealed that all the noise from the gorillas startled the Bongo, and it went from browsing to running. Now on the tracks of a running Bongo, we went deeper and deeper into the untamed forest. "5 hours and 9.9 kilometers into the forest, we took a short rest at the foot of a hill. Exhausted and demotivated, the only glimmer of hope was the trackers saying that the Bongo would have climbed up this hill and taken a rest on top. We took a last sip of water and started climbing the hill. About 10 meters from the top, the dogs started barking. And then we knew.
Ich freue mich so für dich.
Laisse lustig.
It took a lot of pain, blood, sweat, and tears. And then we finally had the red ghost of the Congo forest.
So on the 9th day of our hunt here in the rainforest of Congo, we finally managed to harvest our really old Bongo bull. This morning we started at 6:30. We picked up the track and we were very euphoric because it was only 1 hour before us on the Salt Lick. And when we started trekking, we were interrupted by a group of gorillas. The dog were catching the gorillas and there was a big fight and brawl, and we were a little bit afraid that the dog's going to be harmed. But luckily, no dog was harmed with the gorillas. So, but at that moment, it was where the Bongo knew something was not right. So he just kept walking and walking and walking, and until now, a 5-hour stalk. The dogs finally managed to bay the Bongo, and we get a closer look, and Rupert just placed a perfect shot. Right, Matsai, well done.
Thank you very much for this awesome hunt here.
This was a well-earned trophy.
Tough hunt.
A little bit sad at the same time because during our hunt, when the dogs were baying the Bongo, we lost one dog. It was Blackie. He was hit by the horns, and unfortunately he didn't make it. So we are very happy and thankful for this very good dog that placed his heart and soul in this hunt, and earned us this beautiful bongo. So many greetings from the Congo. Thank you to the pygmy trackers. Thanks to Christoph, our professional hunter. And now it's time to celebrate. Right, Marcel?
Hat man said.
Okay, smile and go.
Safari oye! Oye! Safari oye! Oye! Zimbalambala, zimbalambala, oganye, oganye, zimbalambala, oganye. Mama oganye, zimbalambala, oganye. Tata oganye, zimbalambala, oganye. Zimbalambala, zimbalambala, oganye, oganye, zimbalambala, oganye. Mama oganye, zimbalambala, oganye.
After the pictures have been taken, the slaughtering started. The head and the skin is gently removed and placed into a bundle, whilst the rest of the animal is slaughtered for meat and shared amongst the trackers. Meat is an important commodity in Africa, and especially in the Congo. Every piece of meat from the bongo is taken and loaded so that the trackers can take it back to the village to feed their families. Getting meat from the hunt also helps prevent poaching, as the meat is distributed to everyone within the village. While the majority of the trackers slaughter the animal, some of them are assigned to make baskets from branches, leaves, and tree roots. The meat and the trophy is then placed into the baskets and loaded onto their backs. And from experience of helping them load, they are extremely heavy, with each weighing over 50 kilograms. Once the animal is slaughtered down and the meat packed, it is time to make the 10-kilometer journey back to the vehicle. It is incredible to see how these small trackers are able to carry such a load down the hill, through the thick bushes and rivers and over large tree stumps. At 6 p.m. we finally made it to the vehicle. The road home was silent, as all of us were exhausted. But when we arrived at camp, a surprise awaited us. When we drove in, the entire village came to the car dancing and singing, celebrating the success of our hunt. It was very emotional, and after a long and hard day of hunting, it made us feel like heroes. We celebrated at camp with a few drinks, and then we went off to bed, knowing that we finally got our bongo, and we would now be able to relax. The next day, we went out to visit the community. This area of the Congo, where we hunted, mostly consists of the pygmy population. The African pygmies are a group of ethnicities native to Central Africa, mostly the Congo Basin, traditionally subsisting on a forager and hunter-gatherer lifestyle. They all speak French. They're extremely hardworking and exceptionally friendly. Visiting their villages, however, is like going back in time. None of them have cell phones or electricity. They live in basic houses made from wooden planks that they get from the sawmill, and their roofs are made from braiding palm leaves together.
Wow.
They mostly survive off the forest or by working in informal banana, pineapple or cocoa plantations where they get paid only $1 a day. It should also be mentioned that from the money paid for the trophy, the majority goes to the national parks and to the community. The national parks use those funds as part of their conservation and protection of the wildlife in the Congo forest. The community uses the funds to improve infrastructure, such as roads and water supply, create educational facilities for children, and to build clinics. When night fell, it was time to party. The community put on a wonderful show. Singing, dancing, and reenacting the hunt were all on the cards. With the party over, they all accompanied us back to the lodge, where we all said our goodbyes. The next day, we had a quick look at the trophies. The skinners showed us around the skinning shed and cool room and showcased how they clean and care for the trophies and how their storage facility is equipped with salt and cool rooms to prevent any damage on the trophy before it is shipped. We then said goodbye to Christophe and his trackers, and then the owner, Jean-Luc, took us back to the airport. When we got to the tar road, we waved goodbye to the green monster and thanked him for putting up a great fight. A fight full of blood, sweat, and tears, and a fight we will never forget. At the airport, we waved Jean-Luc goodbye and took our plane to Brazzaville, where we would stay the night and leave the next morning back to Ethiopia. This is the end of our bongo hunt, proudly brought to you by Westphalia. For more information, please click on the links below.